I love the atmosphere at Arrowhead. Shannon, was this inbounds or out of bounds from Trevor Lawrence?
Well, I mean, it's inbounds. That's the way he feels, Skip. But he undercut his own argument because he said, well, that was when we didn't have the ball in the crowd. That was then the other way around. This time it's going to be we have the ball trying to hear. Jacksonville, what do you think they had? 50,000 fans? It'll probably be close to 80,000 at Arrowhead. And being in that division for 12 years is one of the loudest stadiums that I've ever played. It probably the loudest next to Mile High. Damn, I'm looking at, they got the 10, Ash put the 10 loudest stadiums on here, and Mile High isn't on here anymore. Because I can assure you, when I played at Mile High, it was one of the loudest, if not the loudest stadium.
I understand. I've been there many times. Is Seattle at the top?
Yeah, Seattle's number 2. Arrowhead is number 1.
Arrowhead is number one. Okay.
It's the loudest, the all-time loudest stadium. It had a decibel level of 142.2 in 2014 with over 76,000 fans. No other sports arena has ever reached that high since. So I guess it's going to be.
Are we just doing outdoor?
With Minnesota's in here, State Farm, they're indoor stadiums, Superdome.
Okay.
It's still not as loud as Arrowhead.
Okay. Because I thought back in the day, the Metrodome, it was the loudest because you needed earplugs in there in the press boxes. The press box is low in the Metrodome.
There's piping noise in there, Skip.
Yeah,
the NFL cut that out.
Yep.
Let me show. I'm gonna show you something, Skip. This is how loud Arrowhead was my rookie year when we played in Arrowhead.
Okay.
Take a look at this video, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope.
If the crowd be quiet so he can hear John couldn't hear the signal, and so Coach Reeves told us, "Say, John, if you can't hear, just back out. Look at the official, and he's going to instruct the crowd to quiet down."
Okay. I don't think they quieted down.
They did, Skip. They did because they didn't want to use the timeout, and then they were going to penalize them. And then the next year they said, nah, that's the whole purpose of having a home crowd is that you shouldn't be able to hear. So that's how loud it's going to be. And here's the thing, Trevor. You know this. You played in a playoff game. There's a different level of intensity.
Yep.
There is it's the finality of it. The crowd knows it. The players know it. So the level of play rises. The crowd, the anticipation, it rises. So your job is to try to make sure that crowd is quiet by getting off to a fast start. The one thing you don't want is the crowd to get involved in the game, and all of a sudden you get these pre-snap penalties. It's 1st and 15. It's 2nd and 15. It's 3rd and long. You don't want that. But I ain't got no problem with what he said. But now you got to go out there and back it up because now, Skip, the crowd is really like, okay, you think Jacksonville is just as loud as Arrowhead? Really? With y'all little 42,000 fans in the swimming pool? Man, you better stop it. I'm anxious to see.
So do you think this will damage Jacksonville's chances of competing in this game?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Because, Skip, most of the time you go on silent count anyway. If you notice, the guard looks back at the quarterback. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready. And now all of a sudden he gives the center the signal.
Okay. I thought a week ago, some unknown New York Giants offensive lineman, talked about how he was surprised at the Minnesota crowd was it Christmas Eve they played there, that it was very quiet. He said it was like Midwestern quiet, and he said, I can say that because I'm from Nebraska.
Right.
And I thought, the wrath of God is going to come down out of the rafters on you in that dome stadium. And instead, the Giants went in and won the game.
Yes.
So it didn't matter as much as I thought it might, although it was probably very loud. They just overcame the decibels. So in this case, when I parse out what he said, I don't think he intended any...
No disrespect. I don't think
it didn't come across that way because I think he was just trying to be true to his school, so to speak. He was trying to support his local fans because he said, as an aside, I can't imagine it'll be much louder than our fans were last Saturday night. Well, he was trying to protect their credibility because they've come back to life in Jacksonville because they finally have something to cheer for.
Right.
Okay? I'm not saying they'll ever be Arrowhead, but it looked, I don't know what the attendance was, but it looked pretty full to me the other night, and it sounded pretty loud through my TV as they came back. Obviously, they were very quiet for 27-0.
Right.
But the point is, I don't think he was taking a shot at Kansas City as much as he was just trying to
build
support.
Up his own crowd.
Yeah, just say, hey, I can't imagine they're that much better, but he does acknowledge they're some better than Jacksonville.
Yeah, of course.
And then he goes into, this is going to be more intense.
We didn't have the ball. It wasn't like I was trying to hear. That was the defense was on the field.
Because at home, it doesn't affect you at all. It shouldn't affect you at all. So then I see these fan comments, like there's one here. they're outraged. We're taking their soul. One huddle at a time, disrupt the huddle. Okay, so they're going to try to just destroy whatever ability they have to communicate with each other. Well, I'm thinking, I have seen teams go in there and win, because I saw Joe Burrow go in there in the AFC Championship game and win the game 27-24 in overtime. I don't know how he did it, but he overcame the loudest crowd in the world, in America anyway. And I'll never forget that game Brady played in the AFC Championship game. It was a shootout, but it went to overtime, and Brady managed to convert 3 straight 3rd and 10s. They won 37-31 in overtime, so they overcame number 1 on your list. So it's doable.
I won a bunch of games.
Yes, you won a bunch of games there.
I won a playoff game there too.
Okay.
It is loud, but hey, it's loud in a lot of places. You go in there and you try not to have a whole lot of audibles. Whatever you call, you normally run it. If you have a play, it's like the only thing that we really did, Skip, is that we would go, if it was a right call, we would say over and it would be left. If it was a left call, we'd say over and it'd be right.
Okay.
But you don't want a whole lot of changes. You don't want a whole lot of, getting up there to the line of scrimmage and trying to do all this and all that. No, because the crowd see you doing that, and they're going to get louder and louder and louder and louder.
Okay.
So you want to minimize the adjustments that you're going to have at the line of scrimmage.
Okay. You also have to give Trevor Lawrence this much. He does know what of he speaks, because he went there this year and they lost 27-17. It wasn't that close, but he went 29 of 40 for 259, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. QBR 64, pretty good. He got sacked 5 times, which surprises me. I don't think they'll get him 5 times this time. Seems like his line is protecting much better now. But my point to you is, he did this. So he speaks from some credibility. He has some sense of how loud they were in a regular season game. And I'm thinking, he's thinking, we'll be okay. And yet, I think he thinks they're going to be okay no matter what, because I don't think he takes anything that seriously.
No.
That's why I told you I thought he was superb in their comeback, because nothing seems to bother him.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
We have gone back and forth about, does he take, this is pre-draft, does he take football that seriously? Is it really a priority in his life? Because he said it really wasn't his priority.
But I see a change in him, Skip. It seems like it matters to him now. I mean, I'm not saying that it didn't matter, but it seems like it's creeped up on the importance scale to how he approaches it. And maybe because it's Dougie P. Maybe it was the relationship that he has with Doug Peterson.
Could be.
But he seems like a different guy now. That's what it seems like to me. But you got your hands full. Kansas City is not an easy place to play.
No.
And especially they got a very good team. Now, when we go in there, Skip, normally they were a defensive team. In the early 90s, they were all defense. DT, Neil Smith, they had, Joe Salmour, Joe Phillips, all those guys. They were a defensive-led football team. Now they're an offensive-led football team that puts pressure on you, force you to score, and makes you one-dimensional. Now, all of a sudden, you just have to throw the football to try to catch up because they put so much pressure on you. And you got to keep the game close. You want to keep the game close to try to keep the crowd up out of it.
That's why I don't think he's afraid of Arrowhead, because I don't think he's afraid of the Kansas City defense. But he full well knows he has to.
He got to compete against that guy.
He's got to hang with him.
He got to match
whatever
that guy.
he does, he's got to do.
And if you look at Skip, when Brady beat him, Brady matched him.
He did.
When Joe Burrow when Joe Burrow has beaten him, he's either matched him or played better. And that's what you got to do. It's not about what you're deep. You got to go match him, because he's going to get his numbers now. You just got to go get yours that says, okay, defense, give me a turnover here or there. Can we steal a possession? Because if you don't steal a possession, if they steal a possession from you and you don't steal one back from them, it's going to probably be a long day for you.
Okay. So my point to you about what happened to him on Saturday night was, because I don't think he takes football like dead seriously, like crazy seriously. If he did, he would have unraveled after he threw 4 interceptions, right? He was 4, right?
Yeah, he threw 4.
Threw 4 interceptions. Most guys would, as they say, go in the tank. Most guys would take it so seriously that they would unravel right before your very eyes.
But he don't know what he doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
He's an underdog.
That's correct.
So he's like, if I lose this game, we were supposed to lose.
Okay.
He doesn't have now moving forward, he's going to have it. Expectations. Because they saw what he did, Skip. They see now you won the division. You won a playoff game. So now you're about to have the same expectations as Joe Burrow, as Josh Allen, as Patrick Mahomes, all these other quarterbacks. You're going to be expected to win the division. Skip, you're going to be expected to go far.
Saturday night, he just kept doing what he does. And they didn't hand it back to him because they didn't turn it over
at all.
So there were no short fields. You had to just keep doing what you do.
Yes, it's not what they didn't do offensively. The Chargers was about offensively. But, Skip, he still had to make every throw.
Every throw. You can't make another mistake or you're going to lose.
Right.
And he made nothing but right decisions with right throws.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm looking at him right now. He's got some weight room to him.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's a big kid.
Yeah, but his arms look good. Like Brady's arms don't look like that. Right?
But, Skip, and they looked at the stadium. I know you remember the old Astrodome.
Do I?
Yeah, man, they got loud in there. The House of Pain.
Love You Blue. That was Houston Oilers.
Yes. Heinz Field, I played there. AT&T. I've never played in the Cowboy Stadium. Gillette. I don't really look at Gillette as being loud, but it wasn't like they were winning like they were winning over the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
Because we played them in 2002.
Yeah. By the way, I covered a lot of playoff baseball games in the Astrodome, and it was ear-splitting. Just because it was inside and so contained.
Some of the worst turf ever. Philly turf was terrible, but the Astrodome was right up there with it.
Really?
I know that. As far as terrible turf. But Arrowhead is loud. I played at CenturyLink, but they weren't that good then. I never played in the Dome, played at Lambeau. But Arrowhead, like I said, Mile High and Arrowhead, for me, they used to rival each other. But right now, we haven't given the fans a whole lot to cheer about, Bronco country, a lot to cheer about. So hopefully that change and we get back on this loudest stadium list once we start winning some games.
Okay, well, maybe you will. But Kansas City is still an 8.5-point favorite, so the expectations are still pretty low for 16. So I think he can go in there and just sort of quietly do what he does.
You think Kansas City cover?
No, I think they're going to cover.
Oh, yeah,
I do. I'll take the points.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close ball game.
I really do. Because they have caught fire.
Right.
Whew.
But you know my homeboy now. That first playoff game, he normally fire. You normally get about three.
In that Super Bowl run, he just kept falling behind everybody.
Oh, yeah, you can come back. You see him running? You see how he was running that thing on the Tennessee Titans?
Yeah. I don't know how he did it.
And then hold on. What game did they play that he stretched the thing out like Superman?
Yeah.
Put one hand down and went down.
Yeah. I don't know how he does it. He lumbers.
Yeah, he had a lumber.
Yeah.
I mean, he might not be Justin Fields or Lamar.
He does not miss any meals.
There you go.
Well, he doesn't. And seriously, right?
That's a flap jacket, Skip.
Yeah.
That's a flap jacket. Yeah.
He actually looks slim. I think that's a picture from his rookie year.
The man ain't no picture from his rookie year. I mean, he ain't built like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence like 6'6".
Yeah.
Patrick is what, like 6'3"?
3.
Yeah. So
about
6'6",
250.
6'6". One guy is 6'6", 235, 240. Yeah. The other guy is 6'3", 240, 250. He don't win no 250.
No, he's 250. Look at him lumber. He can lumber when he gets going.
No. Most of his weight is from waist down, though. That's so he can break tackles.
Okay. We'll see.
Arrowhead has always reminded me of a college atmosphere, guys. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, they tailgate. They start tailgate at 5 in the morning.
So many good playoff games. Woo, yeah. Awesome. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.